The story begins with the Bennett family, who have traveled from Japan to Thailand for a dream holiday. The family consists of Father Henry, Mother Maria, and their three sons, Lucas, Thomas, and Simon. Everyone is enjoying some of the happiest moments of their lives, and the family believes this vacation will become a memory they will cherish forever. But in the very next moment, without warning, the ground begins to shake violently. Every object around them starts trembling. As they turn around, they witness a terrifying sight. Trees seem to vanish from view. The massive wave crashes into the area with unstoppable force. The floodwater tears through buildings. Within seconds, the Bennett family is separated and carried away by the deadly flood. By some miracle, Maria survives. Bruised and terrified, she manages to cling to a floating tree trunk, while the powerful current continues to pull her through the wreckage. Believing she has lost everyone she loves, Maria breaks down in tears. Then, through the raging floodwaters, she spots her eldest son Lucas being carried away by the current. He is struggling to stay above the water as debris crashes past him from every direction. Without hesitation, Maria risks her own life and swims toward him. After a desperate struggle, Maria somehow manages to reach Lucas and pull him to safety. However, the rescue comes at a terrible cost. She suffers serious injuries and is left covered in deep wounds. Eventually, they escape the flooded area, but the sight that awaits them sends chills down their spines. Everything has been destroyed. The once beautiful resort has been reduced to rubble. Buildings have collapsed. Roads have disappeared beneath mud and debris. Despite her injuries, Maria begins searching desperately for her husband Henry and her other two sons. She calls out their names again and again, hoping for an answer. But all she finds is destruction. During this time, Lucas hears the sound of a child crying nearby. Forgetting his own fear and exhaustion, he rushes to help. The boy's name is Daniel, and with no family in sight, Lucas takes him along. Meanwhile, Maria's condition continues to worsen. She has suffered serious injuries to her leg and chest, and every step leaves her weaker than before. Fortunately, several local residents notice their situation and come to help. They transport Maria and Lucas to a makeshift hospital. The scene inside the hospital is heartbreaking. Hundreds of injured survivors are packed into overcrowded rooms. Doctors and nurses are working non-stop, but there are simply not enough supplies, beds, or medical staff to care for everyone. Cries of pain echo throughout the building as desperate families search for their missing loved ones. A doctor is supposed to examine Maria, but before anyone can reach her, her condition suddenly takes a turn for the worse. The story then shifts to Henry. Against all odds, Henry has survived the tsunami, along with his two younger sons, Thomas and Simon. Although they are safe, they have no idea what happened to Maria and Lucas. Henry searches the surrounding area, hoping to find them, but there is no sign of either of them. Realizing his children need protection, Henry sends Thomas and Simon to a safe camp and stays behind to continue searching. He spends the entire day looking for his wife and eldest son. As night falls, exhaustion begins to overwhelm him, but he refuses to stop. Deep down, he believes Maria and Lucas must still be alive somewhere. Then, out of nowhere, a speeding truck races toward him. The scene cuts away. Back at the hospital, doctors finally reach Maria just in time. They treat her wounds, give her medication, and stabilize her condition. Slowly, she begins to recover. While resting in her hospital bed, Maria tells Lucas that they should help other people who are suffering. She encourages him to see if there is anyone who needs assistance. Soon afterward, a desperate man approaches Lucas and shows him a photograph of his missing son. Lucas quickly writes the boy's name on a piece of paper and begins searching for him. Before long, other survivors start approaching Lucas as well, asking for help finding their missing family members. As his list grows longer, Lucas searches room after room throughout the hospital. Eventually, he finds a young boy whose name matches one on his list. After confirming his identity, Lucas realizes he has found the missing child. Without wasting a second, Lucas runs through the hospital searching for the boy's father. He finally finds the man on one of the lower floors and tells him the incredible news. His son is alive. The father rushes upstairs and breaks down in tears the moment he sees his child again. Watching the emotional reunion reminds Lucas of his own mother. He quickly runs back to her room, only to discover that her bed is empty. Another patient is being moved into the space where she had been lying just moments earlier. The scene cuts once again. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the truck Henry nearly walked into managed to stop just in time. The drivers take him to a relief camp, where he borrows a phone and calls his father, Brian. Henry explains everything that has happened, and promises that he will not return home until he finds his entire family. The following morning, Henry goes back to retrieve Thomas and Simon. However, the woman he left them with is now alone. When Henry asks where his sons are, she explains that they were transferred to another location in a truck carrying dozens of children, but she has no idea where they were taken. Panic begins to set in. Now separated from every member of his family, Henry desperately searches camp after camp, but no one can tell him where they are. Back at the hospital, Lucas notices workers replacing his mother's bed and begins shouting in frustration. Hearing the commotion, a nurse approaches him and asks for Maria's name and details. After checking the records, she returns and tells Lucas to follow her. To his immense relief, she leads him straight to Maria. The nurse explains that Maria's condition is deteriorating again and that she will need surgery. At that moment, Lucas notices Daniel smiling excitedly nearby. Curious, he follows him and sees Daniel running into his father's arms. The emotional reunion fills Lucas with happiness, and he quietly walks away. After searching countless camps, Henry finally arrives at the very hospital where Maria and Lucas are staying. At the same time, Lucas heads downstairs to get water for his mother. Henry searches the upper floors of the hospital, checking every room. He even reaches Maria's ward, but curtains block his view, preventing him from seeing her. Thinking she is not there, he moves on. Meanwhile, the truck carrying Thomas and Simon happens to pass directly in front of the hospital. Simon suddenly needs to use the bathroom and can no longer hold it. He gets out of the vehicle and walks toward a nearby tree. At that exact moment, Lucas spots his father. He immediately starts shouting for Henry, but the crowded hospital grounds are filled with noise, and Henry cannot hear him. Lucas runs after him, weaving through the sea of people. But Henry disappears into the crowd once again. Refusing to give up, Lucas rushes outside and continues calling his father's name. This time, Thomas and Simon hear him. The two boys turn around and instantly recognize their older brother. They run toward Lucas as fast as they can. The moment they reunite, all three brothers burst into tears and embrace each other. Hearing the commotion, Henry turns around. What he sees leaves him speechless. Standing before him are all three of his sons. Overwhelmed with emotion, Henry runs forward and hugs them tightly. Through tears, he apologizes to Thomas and Simon for leaving them alone. At last, the family begins coming back together. Lucas quickly leads everyone to Maria's room. When Maria sees her husband and all three of her sons standing together, she can hardly believe her eyes. For a moment, she genuinely thinks she might be dreaming. Looking at Henry, she asks, "Am I dead?" Henry gently reassures her and tells her that everything is going to be okay. Moments later, nurses arrive and wheel Maria away for surgery. Outside the operating room, Henry, Lucas, Thomas, and Simon wait anxiously for news. As they sit together, memories of the devastating tsunami replay in their minds. The terrifying wave, the separation, and the countless moments when they thought they would never see one another again. Finally, a doctor emerges with good news. Maria's surgery was successful. Relief washes over the entire family. For the first time since the disaster began, they can finally breathe again. In the film's final scenes, the family boards a plane and leaves Thailand behind. As they fly home together, they reflect on the tragedy they survived and the miracle that reunited them. The impossible shows just how small human beings are in the face of nature's devastating power. Yet it also reminds us that love, hope, and the bond of family can give people the strength to survive even the darkest moments. If you enjoyed this emotional story of the impossible, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more movie recaps.